Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a preview of the 26th Panzer, a new division available in the upcoming Tribute to Italy DLC. As a disclaimer, Eugen has given me free access to the DLC, so a big thanks to them. Also, please remember that this is an early preview and what you see may be subject to change. If you'd like to read the description on the right hand side, feel free to pause the video as usual, but I'm going to be jumping straight on in. We're going to be looking at all of the units available and then of course putting together a quick deck. So let's get into the Recon tab. Alright, BMW is going to be the start here. This is a classic Panzer division, so there is going to be a lot of stuff that you've maybe seen before in Steel Division 2. The Recon tab definitely looking familiar here. So yeah, just BMW, 6 in A, 12 in B, nothing too special about that. ALF colour are available, 4, 8 and 12 availability. Their transports are limited. The only Recon transport that they can bring other than the Schwimmwagen is the armoured half-track, which is not too bad for a Recon vehicle, honestly. But yeah, I don't know if you're going to really prioritize these over the Speertrupp. I think the Speertrupp are going to be more useful because they're a bit more of a meaty squad. Like having 4 men instead of 2 is just so much nicer because they kind of survive stray artillery shells and they can come under fire and kind of run away easily compared to an ALF colour that's just going to get killed off in like a couple hits. So yeah, I think Speertrupp just generally nicer, and these can also be brought in with the SDK of the 251, or yeah, 251. And there's also the Kubel MG there actually as well, which is kind of nice. Going on to vehicles, we have the SDKFZ 250-10, which comes with a 37mm pack on it. These are pretty nice for transport sniping early on, but their range is limited, so maybe not so good against a lot of wheeled units because their road speed is not going to be as fast. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting sort of support against half tracks early on. I would say it's probably the best role for it. Then there's the 259. This is just a general all-round good recon vehicle because it has the ability to spot infantry and then the 20mm can rip them apart. Also good at cleaning up enemy half tracks. So yeah, pretty decent recon vehicle. 250-10 or 259, sorry. Then there's the card of the ALF colour Panzer 3M. ALF colour Panzer 3M are pretty nice because their accuracy on their APCR and AP shell is pretty good. But their range is limited at 1,500 meters. 4 availability in Phase A though is nothing to scoff at. Pretty good. Then we got the ALF colour Panzer 4J. It's your standard Panzer 4 Recon. You can upvet these, and as upvet, they could be useful for like sniping from range because they can kind of spot their own targets. And one really nice thing about the Panzer 4s is they do have 1,750 meter range, which means they can beat medium tanks due to the extra range quite easily. Once they start getting into range of enemy medium tanks though, they are quite vulnerable because they're lower armor compared to something like a T-34 1942, which has like 90 mils of front armor. But yeah, I mean, upbetted, these could be pretty good. Then there's the ALF colour Panther D, and only one available in Phase A. 150 points. It's a nice recon Panther, and probably will supplement you in Phase A if you like kind of lack tanks elsewhere. But let's move on to the infantry tab. Infantry tab's again pretty standard. There's only really one unit here that is standout, and that is the Stostrup with the Beretta. The Beretta is a pretty strong SMG because it has 150 meter range. So what that means is 2 things. One, you can do the DPS of your submachine gun at a longer range, which is obviously fantastic. And 2, it means as you get closer to the enemy, you get more of an accuracy bonus, which means your damage is actually going to be higher. So that's 2 things that are fantastic against about 150 meter range SMGs. They also get the Molotov there, which is nice for making units move, and then you apply more DPS because the enemy infantry unit that's moved loses its entrenchment bonus. The availability on this is pretty generous. You get 6 in A, 12 in B and 18 in C, which makes you kind of wonder whether or not you might want to actually bring these later in the game, when you can get a lot more of them, because usually Stormtrooper are kind of limited to early phases. Anyway, going through the rest of the units, you do get Ersatztruppen, only available in Phase A, 18 of those. Pioneer Führer, 3 available in Phase A, limited again to Phase A. Panzergrenführer with Panzerfaust are available in all phases, 3, 6 and 9. We've already looked at Stormtrooper, of course. Then we have the Pioneers, standard availability 5, 10, 15, available in all phases. Can be brought in with half tracks. I think a lot of this stuff can all be brought in with half tracks, so bear that in mind. They do get the 251-1. And yeah, Pioneer squad's pretty standard, 2 MP40s, 7 Kar-98s, the MG34, and the Gewaltladung as well. I think it's Gewaltladung. Anyway, Panzergrenführer are available in A, B, and C. These are the leaders with smoke. I think I prefer leaders with smoke over leaders with Panzerfaust, so that would be my recommendation. There is standard Sturm Pioneers, again availability same as usual, 5, 10, and 15 available in A, B, and C. And yeah, with the original 1 vet, you can make them 3 vet quite easily, which does make them pretty good squads at close range. But you're probably going to be relying on the Stormtrooper a lot. Then you've got 2 cards available of the MG34 Panzergrens, which are the MP40 7 Kar-98s, 2 MG34s. Availability is 9, 18, and 27. And then in Phase C, you have your Panzer Grenadiers with the classic MG42, and also Panzerfaust in this case. 8, 16, and 24 availability is actually not that bad. Obviously, it's slightly less than the MG34 infantry, but MG42s are way better. So definitely, I think, worth bringing in the Panzergrens for the less availability. Alright, Tank Tab. This is where we're going to be seeing some of the first Italian armour of the DLC. The Stug M41. This is your classic. It does have a Breda Model 31, which makes it, I think, the only tank in the Tank Tab that doesn't actually have a main gun. I'm pretty sure that's the case. But they're only 15 points, so if you want a cheap armoured leader, these would be a good choice, I guess. Panzer 3L is available in Phase A. You can actually get 8 of these in Phase A, and since they have that classic 60% accuracy and 65% accuracy on the APCR, they can be pretty nice. Like, this is actually not a bad card at all. Then there's the Stug M42. This is again another Italian tank, but has the 75mm. The heat round is kind of abysmal, 85mm of penetration, but decent rate of fire. AP shell, again, pretty abysmal. Nice thing about AP shell though, it does have 85mm of penetration, which means it's going to get through most medium tanks at closer ranges, and 12 round rate of fire is nothing to scoff at actually, so these might not be too bad at closer ranges. But they don't really have any machine gun or anything, so you're not going to be able to like use them that greatly for support against infantry. Although the HE round does have 2.2 damage, so yeah, maybe they'll be alright. I mean, 12 round per minute rate of fire with 2.2 damage at 1,750 meter range is actually pretty good now I think about it. Yeah, it's not too bad. Panzer IVs are available. Standard availability. 5, 10, and 15 available in A, B, and C. Generally want to upvet your Panzer IVs at least once, because 3-star Panzer IVs are super strong. So if you keep a leader nearby, get that commander on the field to give that leader the +2 on other units around it. Definitely nice. Panzer IV Führer. 2, 4, and 6 available. It's just, again, your standard kind of Panzer IV. I think this is a Panzer IV. It is a Panzer IV-H. Okay, it's only got limited side skirts compared to the main variant. Not that that really makes much of a difference. I'm pretty sure the stats are exactly the same. So yeah. Either way, Panther A is available. 2, 4, and 8 availability. Classic Panzer or Panther 4. Why do I keep saying Panther 4? Panther A comes with the 185 mils of penetration at 2,000 meter range. It's going to be your staple armor for sure in this deck. And then you got Panther A Führers, which is 1 available in A and 2 available in B. I'm not really looking too much into these because a lot of it we've seen before, so just bear that in mind. Moving on though, we have Feldgendarmerie, available in all phases, A, B, and C. There isn't really much to use these for, like just the Ersatztruppen. So Ersatztruppen come in A, so you could bring in Feldgendarmerie in A to like accompany them so they don't run away. Like so, because basically what these do, because they're military places, they stop disheartened units from retreating automatically, which is useful in certain situations. But generally, I would say that getting 4 10-point squads is not worth an activation point in a deck, which is why you don't often see these brought in. Flammenwerfer, standard squad, 2-man with your flamethrower there. Nothing exciting really in the transports. 6 available in A, 9 available in C. This is an interesting vehicle, the Flampanzer 3M. Main gun's been replaced by a flamethrower. And I'm not quite sure how useful this is going to be, but definitely going to be fun to mess around with initially. I think I'll probably put it in the deck and then maybe remove it later on once I've messed about with it a little bit. It depends really how strong it is, because in the patch where Tribute to Italy comes out, they are going to be increasing the aim time of flame units and flamethrower like tanks and half-tracks and stuff. So technically they might be able to stop themselves getting killed at closer ranges easier, but you're going to have to manage it very well. Now the trouble with like a Flampanzer or any flamethrower tank or vehicle is 160 meter range. At 100 meters you're vulnerable to AT grenades, and then beyond 100 meters you're vulnerable to bazookas. So yeah, you're kind of stuck in that spot where even if you're engaging with the flame at like longer ranges, you can still get killed by bazookas quite easily. And then if you accidentally get a little bit too close, which isn't that hard when you're sort of, the difference is 60 meters, it's not going to be long until infantry just run down these flame vehicles. But hopefully the extra aim time means that, you know, that 60 meters makes a difference. But either way, 3 available in A, 6 available in B. Beautiful camo as well. Look at that. Gorgeous tank. Alright, MG34. Classic. These can be brought in a range of different half-tracks. You can get the 251-10, there's a 251-7 and the 251-9. 251-10 has a 37 pack. The 251-7 has a Panzerbuchse, and then the 251-9 has a 75mm assault gun on it. So that's those. I was just wondering actually if these can use them. They can, okay. So yeah, your leaders can actually use these half-tracks as well, and that might be a nice choice for them to bring in like the 251-9 with higher veterancy. Just something to bear in mind. So yeah, MG34 there with all those different transport options. There's IG-18s. These can be brought in with the Upper Blitz. There's also the SDKFZ-10. The SDKFZ-10 is something to consider when you know you're going to take units off-road quite a bit, because they have 45 km/h speed off-road, although the Horch also has 45 km/h off-road speed, but generally use the Horch at the beginning of the game because it's got a faster on-road speed for units like Flammenwerfers or maybe even the Stosstroop if you were going to bring them in early. There is the Panzer IV F1 in the support tab. This is actually a tank that's used a reasonable amount in like high level play in like 1v1s, and the reason for that is because it's cheap and it has a 100mm heat round with 8 damage, which means that you can basically one-shot sort of like light armor, and you're going to be doing like a lot of damage to medium armor. So it's a nice cheap option as a support gun. It's going to do a lot of damage to infantry because its HE also does 2.2 damage, and you got the 2 MGs there. So yeah, certainly a unit to consider. MG42, these are very good as well. MG42 is of course way better than MG34s, especially in the support tab. Opal Blitz munition trucks, pretty standard stuff. You get 3 cards of these, availabilities 2, 4 and 6, same as usual. And then there we have it, another Stug M43. 105mm gun on this one. Its heat rounds are actually not bad, but the rate of fire is absolutely awful. The 105mm of penetration on a heat round is not that bad, and 10 damage means it one-shots medium tanks. 35% accuracy is a bit rough. We move on to the HE shell. This HE shell is pretty beastly at 4.1 damage, but again, rate of fire really letting this down big time. I think the use for these would be at like close range, where you're kind of like close supporting with infantry. I reckon you could catch out some medium tanks, but you just got to be really on the point, or like on the ball, with when that reload time is happening. Grilla, classic Grilla, does come with the 2000 meter range, 7.5 damage. Very nice longer range choice for supporting your infantry and tanks against support weapons at range. Then you got your commander options. There's a Commander half-track, Commander Panzer IV, and a Commander Panther A. There you go. That's your support tab. Quite a lot of choices here. Anti-tank tab. Panzer Rex. Pretty standard stuff. Your 250 meter range AT squads. 4, 8, and 12 availability. The transports are pretty standard. Panzervernichtungen are also available. These can actually be brought in half-track, 6-man Panzerstreck squads. Pretty good. Then we have the Marder 3. Seen these before. 4 available in A, 8 available in B. Do have the APCR. It's basically a Pak 40 on an armoured hull, so that's the best way to look at these. But they are quite cheap. And then Pak 40s are also available. You get 3 cards of Pak 40s, 3, 5 and 8 availability. Standard stuff. And yeah, I mean, we've seen Pak 40s 100 times. But one unit we haven't seen is the Stug M43. So this is an absolute beast. I'm pretty sure this is like an AA piece that's been put onto an armoured hull. 90 mils of penetration. Oh, sorry, 90 mil barrel, sorry, with 170 mils of penetration, quite a big difference. Does get 50% base accuracy, and the rate of fire is not that bad. 7 round per minute rate of fire. You have to bring it in at 1 vet, so technically 8 round per minute rate of fire and 57% accuracy. There is only one of these available. If you keep it alive, this thing could hammer away at range. It's got 8 damage on its gun as well, which isn't that bad. You're not going to be one-shotting medium tanks, but it's still going to be a beast of a gun that almost always penetrates. Jagdpanzer is also an option. 1 card of these available. 3, 6 and 9 availability throughout the phases. Alright, anti-air tab. 20 mils. Classic. These can't be brought in with any 20 mil transports though, which is a bit unfortunate. Availability is 6, 9 and 12. 3 cards of these available. There is the SDKFZ 10-4 available, which is the 20 mil on wheels, tracks, on a half track. 4 and 8 availability. It'd be nice if these were maybe transports for the other 20 mils, but yeah, I guess it would be a no-brainer to take those if they were available. There is the breaded 20 mils available on the truck here, which is pretty cool, manned by what looks like some sort of Fallschirmjäger unit, but yeah, breader 20 mils to support. And then there is the Gepard, classic Gepard, basically an armoured 20 mil vehicle. And then we have the Famo. Look at this bad boy. It's basically just an armored 88 on a half track, which is really nice because you're going to actually be able to like ambush enemy tanks and stuff with this. I think it's going to be pretty decent. I'm not sure what the health is like on the Famo. Like if it takes like one shot and dies, that would be kind of bad, like from a penetration. But I guess we'll see. I need to definitely try this out as like an AT option because it'd be fun. The Flak 41 is pretty nice. It's got 160 mils of penetration with 10 round per minute rate of fire. So yeah, pretty good. And also obviously has the ability to fire at aircraft as usual. 2, 4, and 6 availability. The vet curve is not that generous. It looks like cuts your availability pretty hard. But I think due to the AP shell being, 40% extra, 10 round per minute rate of fire, put a leader next to them, that'll be pretty decent. Pop them in and out of light cover. I think they'll do alright. And then SDK of Z71. Only 1 available in A, 2 available in B. The availability on these is kind of shocking. Artillery. Let's move on. Beobachter, your classic artillery observers, and then you got Battleführer, classic artillery leaders. 81mm mortars are available, 4, 8, and 12 availability. LEFHs. LEFHs are okay, but I don't really like them. Like some people do. Personally, I really just dislike the 105 caliber in Steel Division. I'm gonna just say it every time. The SK-18 is a bit different for its 105 caliber, just because it has pretty good accuracy, like at range, compared to the LEFH 105. Like this one's a bit better, especially for counter battery. This is particularly strong. So that's what I'd use the SK-18 for. Only 1 card available of those. There is a card available with the 81mm mortars in the SDK of Z257. Get 4 available in Phase A, which is actually pretty good. There is 2 cards of 120mm mortars, 2, 4, and 8 availability. If you get 3 of these in Phase A, I might recommend them, but otherwise no. In terms of the 81mm mortars for the SDK of Z251-2, only 2 available in A and 4 available in B, but the ammo loadout is slightly more. So in some cases that can be useful, but having 4 of these available in Phase A is actually really nice. So could definitely be a good choice. There is the Vespa available to this division, but again, it suffers from using the LAFH with the 105mm caliber. So not really your best choice, but 2, 4, and 6 availability. There is the Hummel, Phase A and B. Hummels are actually nice because they have the 150mm SFH. So yeah, it can be a nice choice, but don't have the ability to bring them in Phase C, which is unfortunate. So I don't think they're really going to take up slots in the artillery tab over other units, such as the Werflammens, which are very strong right now in the game. 280mm rockets that absolutely demolish things. So yeah, you're going to probably bring in both cards of these. I would probably recommend B and C. Yeah. All right, air tab. BF-109G8 as Recon. You're not going to shoot down any other planes with this, but it's nice fast recon. Availability is shocking though. 1, 2, and 4 availability. Ju-87D5. Pretty good payload for the Ju-87. 95 points in Phase A, could do a lot of damage with the 1 500kg bomb and 2 250kg bombs. So A is 2, B is 4, and C is 7 availability. So yeah, not bad. Phase A, getting 2 of these for 95 points. You could definitely demolish groups of infantry very nicely. However, there is the ability to get the Focke-Wulf 190 F8, which does get 3 250kg bombers. So, well, it gets 1 250kg bomb, but you get 3 Focke-Wulf 190 F8s with only 115 points, 530 km/h speed with medium resilience is actually a much nicer than the Ju-87D5. So these can precision bomb for you, taking out sort of your enemy support weapons and also damaging enemy infantry squads. If an enemy infantry squad is on the move, you will do a nice chunk to it. Yeah, 3, 4, and then 6 availability for those. You do get access to the BF-109 G6R4. This is the BF-109 that comes with the 30mm gun pods as opposed to the 20mm gun pods under its wings, which makes it a very potent aircraft for shooting down other fighters. You're going to win most head-ons. You're going to shoot down enemy bombers and stuff very quickly with this. It's an exceptional fighter to have in your arsenal, and having these in probably B would be like a nice number. But 2, 4, and 8 available in their phases. Moving on, we got the next Focke-Wulf 190 F8. This one has a nicer payload than the other Focke-Wulf, with the 1 250kg bomb, which is the same, but also comes with 4 50kg bombs. So you get that extra little bit of damage. And because these precision bomb quite well, that extra 5 points is very much worth it. The availability is more or less exactly the same. It's actually better for these, so a very nice Focke-Wulf option for sure. And there's 2 cards available, so this is the sort of thing you're going to be wanting to bring in your air tab. Then we have the Sagittario, the RE 2005. I think these are already available in the game in the first Fallschirmjäger. But yeah, 20 mils. You get 3 20 mils. 1 in the nose, 2 on the wings, and then it's got 2 12.7 machine guns as well in the nose. So it's got a pretty good armament. Resilience is bad. I'm not sure if these would be better to take over the BF-109 G6R4s. The availability is obviously nicer on the Sagittario, and it does go faster, but the 30mm gun pods are so good. Right, let's move on. Anyway, we've got the Z1007. This is the Alcyon, the triple engine bomber from the Italians. Very cool indeed. This thing has an 800kg bomb and 6 100kg bombs. So the 6 100kg bombs you can see are on the wings here, and it's got an 800kg bomb in its bomb bay. It's not very well defended in terms of machine guns, but yeah, it definitely packs a punch. In phase A you get 1, B 2, and C is 4. These could definitely do a lot of damage if they hit the mark, and they do have very good resilience, so yeah, not a terrible bomber. Then there is the other Alcyon, which has 18 100kg bombs. It's got 6 on the wings and 12 in its bomb bay. Technically you could like turn off one of these and do 2 bombing strikes, but keeping a bomber in the sky is kind of risky because you're just asking for it to be shot down by an enemy fighter for the most part, unless you've got really good AA cover. So I mean, you could consider leaving them out and doing 2 bombing strikes on 2 different targets. Either way, availability on these is pretty good. 2, 4, and 8 availability. But the turrets are pretty bad, so even en masse, they're not really going to be shooting down other aircraft. Like if you bring in like a lot of Bostons next to each other, for example, or Mitchells, like any fighter that kind of dives into the group of bombers will probably get shot down. Whereas bombers like that have like limited machine guns, not going to happen. Like they're just going to die. Anyway, that's 26th Panzer for you. So it's pretty much a standard German division with some interesting Italian units sprinkled in. Like the Sostra with the Beretta, you got obviously all these like interesting Stugs in here. Then you've got the Famo, and then like the Alcyon and the Sagittario. Anyway, let's build up this deck, shall we? So I think in the Recon tab here, I'm probably going to take the Spätrupp in the 250-10. Actually, we'll do Kubel MG for phase A because they're faster. And then phase B, I could definitely do with Speerthroat with maybe the half track, because it's less important that they're getting to the front line then. I am going to bring in the Aufklärer Panther D in Phase A. The Recon squad is actually, or the Recon tab is actually pretty cheap here, so I think it's worth doing that. And then I'm also going to bring in 259s as well. Alright, Infantry tab. I'm not sure if Ersatztruppen are worth it. I'm going to bring in definitely Panzergrenz. I'm considering upvetting them for B and C. And in Phase A, I think I'm going to do Panzergrenz with MG34s. I think I'm going to do Sostroop with Berettas in Phase C. I'm going to do Panzergrenführer in Phase A. Let's see. Or do I want to do Pioneerführer? I think I could do a Phase A Pioneerführer and then do a Phase B Panzergrenführer. I'm going to say with the 251-9s. I mean, technically I could upvet them and bring in the 251-9s, but that would be a waste. I think we got to Phase A, bring in the 259s. So we'll do Pioneerführer in Phase A with the 251-9. And then in Phase B, I'll use 251-10s maybe. Like, having these extra half tracks hanging about is really nice. And currently Panzerbuchs is not worth it, so I think 251-10 may be a better choice. Or I could just bring them in with like a Kubel or something. Maybe even the Kedengrad. Just to save availability on those Kubels. Yeah, we'll do that. Alright, so Phase C, the Sostroop with the Beretta should be fine. So in Phase A, I'm going to bring in Pioneers. And we're going to do the same in B. And then I need Phase A Panzergrenz. And I might also bring in the Ersatztruppen. That's a lot of infantry. But I think it's okay. Yeah. Alright, let's move on to the tank tab. Definitely going to want the Panthers. We can do Phase A Panzer IVs. Phase B and C Panthers. I do want to try these out. I might bring these in early on. Ooh, yeah, let's bring them in 2 VAT. Because the rate of fire is going to be crazy on those. Do I want to bring in the leader? No, probably not. I think we just do Phase B Panzer IVs. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, support tab. I do want to try these out. I don't know if it's worth bringing them in Phase A. Possibly. I do want to bring in the Flampanzer. There's a lot of stuff I want to bring in here. It's kind of sad. We have a limited amount of space because we're going to need to save space for the Oberblitz munition trucks as well. And we do need a commander. I'm going to bring in a Panzer IV commander. I'm going to use this because it's new, not because it's good. And I'm going to bring them in Phase A. Because I think that's the only phase that they're going to be able to be viable. MG42s are super useful, so having them early on is going to be good. And I would probably bring in a second card of those usually. But I might instead bring in some Panzer IV F1s. Let's move on to the anti-tank tab. I'm definitely using that. We are probably going to use some Pak 40s. And Phase B, we can use the STKZ 10s for the Pak 40s there. Am I going to run out of transports? Maybe. We definitely want the FAMOS, so we're going to bring these in. We could bring them in A and B. And then what would I bring in late game if I'm doing that? Maybe lots of 20 mils? I don't know, I think I've got to bring in at least one of these in C. I'm going to bring them in A and C. And then in B, we could bring in these 20 mils, I think. Just dot them around, should be pretty useful. Could also do Gepards, actually. Gepard's probably a better shout. Yeah. We'll keep our AA motorized. Okay, artillery. Gonna bring in these in phase A. 4 on a card. I'm gonna bring in these in B and C. And then the next card is very expensive, so no battery filler here. Air tab. These are too good not to bring. Bring those in A and bring them in C. Like, that's a lot of availability. I'm going to use these bombers in C. And then we've got to decide about fighters. I'm thinking we do phase A Sagittarios with phase B G6R4s. I can actually upvet them. That would be a good idea for the very good agility. Okay. So, the main thing here is going to be the lack of supply. I've got to find points. This is actually a really tight deck on availability. I could definitely maybe drop a unit of tanks here, like maybe not bring in the Panzer IVs. Because I'm going to need probably phase B and C Opel Blitz for this artillery tab. Lacking long range artillery is going to kind of suck in the long run. I might have been a little bit liberal with the Recon tab, but I'm pretty sure those are all 1 point slots. Yeah, so I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Infantry tab, we're taking up a 3 point card there. But if I were to take that away and add tanks, that's probably not the best bet. I mean, maybe I could add a support unit, might be quite nice. But the leaders are definitely necessary, because we don't get leaders anywhere else. I can't supplement leaders in the artillery tab, it's too expensive. And I can't supplement in the tank tab because bringing in the Panther A's is super important. And in this case, at the moment, I want to try out the Stug M42. I think I'm just going to leave it here for now. Yeah, we'll leave it there. So there we go. That is the 26th Panzer. Seems pretty tight on activation points. Now I've put together a deck. Definitely going to be one that gets adjusted moving forwards. Taking these bombers in phase C, not really that necessary. You could get away with just using Focke-Wulfs, take away this card, put it somewhere else. The points that you get from that, I'm pretty sure that's 2 point cards, so you could get another anti-tank or another tank unit if you wanted to. That would be my recommendation if you want to kind of like copy this deck a little bit. But yeah, overall, an interesting Panzer division. It does obviously have its generic units, but with the Italian unit sort of sprinkled in, I think it's going to be fun to play, especially with like the Famos. I'm really, really interested to see how well I can do with those Famos, and particularly the Stug M43 here with the big old like AA gun on it. Yeah, that's going to be nasty. We'll see. That's it for now, though. Remember, guys, I am going to be streaming on Thursday, the Tribute to Italy DLC, when it gets released, so make sure to come along, 8 PM that is. If you do want to see more Steel Division 2 content in the future, do make sure to subscribe. And yeah, that's it from me. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this preview of the 26th Panzer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.